we are sold a beautiful lie, the ultimate romantic sedative. Love conquers all. The idea is intoxicating, that if the feeling is strong enough, pure enough, it can bridge any gap, heal any wound, overcome any difference. But here is the quiet, unsettling truth that lives in the gap between that fantasy and your reality. Love is the most necessary part, and yet it is almost never the sufficient part. You can be drowning in it and still feel utterly alone in the same room. This isn't about love disappearing. This is about discovering its limitations. And it starts not with a bang, but with a silence that sounds different. Why is this so hard to see? Because of chemistry. Chemistry is the high. It's the dopamine hit that makes you feel like you've merged souls. But chemistry and compatibility are two different languages. Chemistry is powerful. It's intoxicating. It creates attachment, urgency, desire. But chemistry does not ask practical questions. Compatibility does. Think of it this way. Chemistry is the ice cream. It tastes incredible. It makes you feel alive in the moment. Compatibility is the vegetables. It's the boring structural stuff. How you handle stress, conflict, money, disappointment, growth. It asks where you're going, not just how strongly you feel. When you have high chemistry but low compatibility, you are essentially eating nothing but ice cream. It feels great for a month or so, but eventually the relationship starts to starve. You realize you fell in love with the feeling, but you forgot to check the blueprint. When love is not enough, nothing explodes. Instead, two things quietly collapse. First, the collapse of language. Conversations don't stop, they just change. They become purely functional, schedules, errands, logistics. What disappears isn't speech, it's emotional exchange. No one asks, "How are you, really?" Because we love each other mistakenly becomes the reason not to look too closely. Avoidance begins to feel like harmony. Second, the collapse of touch into familiarity. Passion doesn't vanish in a fight, it fades in a series of unchosen moments. Touch becomes expected, not intentional. A goodnight kiss becomes a habit. Proximity becomes just shared space. Nothing feels broken, it just feels less alive. And this is where the dangerous shift happens. You stop being partners in a shared story. You become expert roommates, co-managers of a life. You are running a household, but you are no longer tending a connection. Love is still the roof over your head, but you're starting to feel the draft from the walls that were never fully built. And here is the trap, the internal contradiction that paralyzes. Because you do love them, so your mind races. One voice says, if I have to explain my loneliness, it proves how lonely I am. If our love was real, it would inspire understanding. Maybe I'm asking for too much. The other voice says, nothing I do is ever right. I'm walking on eggshells. Why is this love so conditional on me performing perfectly? The devastating realization, they both feel unloved because of the love they feel. That love sets an impossible standard, and the daily imperfect reality of being human fails to meet it. So you make a silent bargain. You will protect the precious feeling of love by quietly neglecting the crumbling reality of the relationship. You become a curator of a museum exhibit about us instead of a builder of a home for us. You are pouring premium fuel into a car and refusing to admit the engine has been dead for miles. Beneath the quiet routine, a private accounting system begins to operate. We call it the hidden ledger. Every unmet need, every dismissed concern, every "I'll do it later," that becomes never. It all gets logged, not with anger, but with a quiet, corrosive disappointment. The tragedy of the ledger is its secrecy. We operate on a false rule that true love should be intuitive. We think if they loved me, I wouldn't have to ask. But to ask feels like a transaction. So we don't ask, we just make another entry in the ledger. One person feels chronically unseen. The other feels chronically inadequate, unaware of the rules of a game they are always losing. Love is the reason you stay, but this hidden ledger is the reason you are slowly bankrupting the connection you're trying to save. To find clarity, you must flip the entire model you've been given. Most people believe love is the foundation. It isn't. Respect, trust, and shared values are the foundation, the non-negotiable, load-bearing walls. Love is the roof. It is beautiful. It is essential. It shelters everything. But if you try to place a beautiful golden roof, this grand, profound love, directly onto the dirt of poor communication, misalignment, or neglect, the structure will collapse at the first storm. You cannot live in a roof. Love is fuel, but the car needs an engine of compatibility, a steering wheel of shared direction, and a chassis of daily repair. No amount of fuel moves a broken vehicle. This is the crucial shift. Love is not a superpower. It is a motivation. It can motivate you to build, to communicate, to repair, but it cannot replace those things. A relationship requires systems, communication, trust, shared values, emotional responsibility. When those systems weaken, love is stretched beyond its capacity. Love doesn't fail, it gets overburdened. The hardest, most adult realization you may ever have is this. You can love someone with every fiber of your being and still not be able to build a functional, lasting life with them. Not because the love is fake, but because love is not architectural software, it's just the electricity that powers the computer. So we return to the quiet, not with an answer, but with a better question. The old question, the desperate one, was, do you love me? A question focused on a passive feeling, a weather report of the heart. The new question, the active, the honest, the truly brave one, is, what are we building with the love we have? This question doesn't guarantee a happy ending. It may lead to a more intentional partnership built on sturdier materials. Or it may lead to a conscious, respectful parting, an act of love that honors what was real by refusing to let it suffer indefinitely in a structure where it cannot thrive. But it returns the agency to you. It moves you from being a passenger in a broken car to someone who can finally, honestly assess the blueprint. Because understanding that love is not enough isn't the end of the story. It's the only place the real story can begin. If this exploration brought you clarity or courage, please like and subscribe for more. Thank you for listening to your own voice. Until next time, take good care of your heart.